Now everything heard is heard by that listener. And you can have faith in your ability, learnt when you were very young, to notice, interspersed in the camouflage of confusing language, ideas that you can separate, extract, combine and utilize, and create your own personal useful suggestions, the foundation for your understanding, for your future adult life, and at any stage or age, for the achievement of your goals. And I remember when I was a little kid, and I was frustrated because I couldn't understand why an M stood for a man because it had 3 legs that pointed down, or what constipated meant, and why my parents laughed when I repeated, word for word, "Ladies and gentlemen, this elephant has been constipated for 20 years. Hey lady, don't touch." Uh-oh, too late. Dig her out, Joe. A problem is only a problem because a concern is not being taken care of. In your heart, you're very young, and just like the grown-ups, kids, when they just listen, quickly allow their concentration to drift, and in between tuning in to parts that seem interesting, you can yawn, or take a deep breath, or allow your eyelids to slowly close, or slowly open, several times in a row. Kids do that all the time. It's quite acceptable. And while you continue to do that, you can notice how good it feels to rest your eyes for a few moments. While I remind you of when you were very young and you become confused for the first time when you hear a long sentence with big words in it, and at first you feel frustrated, you can't make head or tail of it, and then you realize if you ignore the nonsensical parts, you can work out what to do. By listening to the words you can understand, interspersed here and there amongst the big words, like seeds in a garden, you can hear what you want to hear and create your own useful meaning. And there is no need to resist the temptation to ignore certain parts of anything suggested to you. You can utilize your ability to separate the sense from the sentence and make use of what you can find between the head and the tail to give yourself suggestions for your own benefit, to address your concerns and achieve your own goals. And a lifelong skill is born, where you can scan your experiences and your environment, what you see and hear, and other resources, of which you have so many, to find the best available plan of action, the best plan for you, to create what you want. And by taking action, we can become different. A lesson taught to us when we were very young. And that reminds me of a story of a little 8-year-old boy called Jonathan, who was totally defiant. So his mother took him to a therapist. And little Jonathan bragged to the therapist that no one in the world could control him. He could do whatever he wanted. And the therapist told him he was right. And then the therapist spoke to the mother separately, telling her to sit on the boy until he behaved himself. So she did that. She weighed 150 pounds and she sat on him for 6 hours while she ate sandwiches, had some drinks and read a book. She only let him up to go to the toilet when he promised to come back to the same position, which he did. And she only let him get up and stay up after 6 hours when little Johnny promised faithfully he would behave himself as she told him. He did that and accepted the fact that the world had boundaries and he was a changed boy. And there's an old saying that we can be comfortable when we accept what we cannot change and take responsibility to change what we can. Now, if your name's Johnny, from time to time, you're in control of your body, which regulates chemicals that control your moods and emotions, making you feel happy and confident and hopeful of a positive future. And sometimes it may seem to you that you've allowed your evil twin Jonathan to take control. He's negative and dysfunctional and very keen to maintain the status quo. And he's cunning too in his arguments, saying things like, "Hey, the end justifies the means. We're headed for the outcome you wanted, and if we change now, we might lose that." He lies through his teeth when he says you can't change, and he upsets your body so it releases stress-producing chemicals to tighten his grip on the illusion of his control. Now, Johnny, I'm talking to you. When you listen to this, or look for a solution, perhaps advice on how to achieve your goals. It may seem that Jonathan is trying to sabotage your plan to dig your way out of that pile of manure caused by out-of-date thinking still stuck up his rear end. And now is possibly a good time to reach out and touch Jonathan face to face, persuade him to let go and use healthier means to achieve your goal. That's a matter of education for Jonathan to understand. And perhaps, Johnny, you can put yourself in charge. Take control of how things are done. After all, it's your body. You can stand up like a man and put your foot down. Hold Jonathan down like his mother did until he promises faithfully to behave responsibly. That worked once before. That's a useful fact you can enjoy thinking about and be curious about what it can lead to. And talking about faith, you can believe that God created the universe, or that God is the universe and its countless millions of suns, and one particular sun can light up your life as you slowly close your eyes and become completely absorbed in the image of the Son, of the Father of creation. And perhaps you can see an image of Jesus in a form you can recognize, rising like the morning sun, shining his healing light, holding out his arms to embrace you. And you can be drawn in to the beauty and the compassion radiating from his eyes, and the acceptance and the love, peace and understanding shining from his heart. And you can reach out and touch him. Feel the power of the infinite healing of his outstretched open hands. And perhaps you can hear him saying, "I am real. You are healed. I have many plans for you." And you can open up your eyes and see him in a form that you can recognize, standing right in front of you,